Let's re-begin the SNES retrospective with Maximum Carnage, which is another colored cartridge. It's red. And I have a black one and a red one, which is actually my school colors. Coincidence? I don't know, because I don't know if there's any other cartridges with color. Anyway, this is a Spider-Man beat-em-up. I don't remember how I got it. I believe it was probably a gift of some sort. It's another super hard game that I always got very, very far into, but I never finished, still haven't to this day. I should go back and do some cheat codes, but basically it's the whole Venom arc where there's the symbiote Venom, and then there's the symbiote from space, Carnage, and you're basically going to take him down. It's, whatever, it's kind of a fun beat 'em up for Spider-Man. Now we have Mega Man X. Oh my gosh, another one of my favorite Super Nintendo games that I played to death. I'm actually pretty good at it. I'm a little rusty as I went back in here to capture some footage, but I was really good back in the day because I played this one a lot, and I never owned any of the other ones, even though X2 and X3 are pretty good, especially X2. They added a lot of things in there. But I actually remember this because it was Easter, and I was kind of half asleep but not altogether asleep, but I knew the Easter Bunny didn't really exist at that point, or I kind of did, but I kind of feigned ignorance. Anyway, I was half asleep, I felt someone open up my covers and slide something in underneath my foot, so my parents thought it was a good idea to basically hide this game with me in bed at my feet. What if I kicked in the middle of the night or like shot it across the room? Who knows what would have happened. But I actually don't remember if it was still there in the morning. I think I might have actually taken it out and then kind of put it aside and then whatever. But yeah, it was an awesome, awesome game. Love the Mega Man X series, especially this first one. Very, very special. Very weird acquisition. Gosh, I think Plock might have been another Shopko game. Just another cheap bargain bin kind of thing that looked interesting that I got myself into. Such a weird game. This weird anthropomorphic, weird Rayman looking character, pre-Rayman. He has a weird body with like a poop head kind of thing going on, and his arms fly off. And basically you can shoot them off at the same time, but then they come back to you eventually, and there's weird power-ups as well. I gotta really dive deep in this one. I think there's a second one, or I might be dreaming it, or I might have seen it in a magazine that it was happening. Anyway, another game I never beat. Pretty hard, but you're basically trying to find your grandpa's flag, who was like this old-time hero, and then this plunky character, you find out you're going all over this island, and you find this weird infestation kind of thing happening as the game progresses. It has a really cool world map, and a cool progression in the story, and I really like it, even though it's a very weird, super hard game. Secret of Mana? I think this was another thing that kind of tricked me. The character on the back of the box looks a lot like Chrono, and it kind of actually looked a lot like Zelda, like an action RPG, which Zelda was my only thing that I could recognize. So I picked up this game, never having heard of the series before, and absolutely adored it. Very awesome RPG from Square. I'm actually going to talk more about this next month, I suppose, or actually coming soon because it's the Mana anniversary this year, I do believe. So, just some brief touches. I got it from Funkoland at that time, and yeah, just another one of those games that looked interesting to me, and I picked it up, and it's a really awesome action RPG. I played the second one that never came over here, Second Densetsu 3, I believe it is. But yeah, more on that later in the year. Stone Protectors is kind of a garbage game. Do you remember Troll Dolls? Probably a lot of viewers don't, but they're these weird troll things with crazy hair. And they kind of did a Power Rangers kind of thing, which was popular at this time, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where these dopey characters get these like amulets that make them transform into badass warriors. And it's a brawler, and another one of those games where I played a lot. It's a beat 'em up, and it's kind of short, kind of tough, but I got through it with friends, and my daddy, I think, even beat it, and I think my sister liked it a lot too. As you can tell from one of my images, I think from the first promo, the back got scraped off. I don't know if that's how we got it or what, but yeah, it's not a great game, but it's whatever. And another thing I kind of mentioned in the beginning was I got my Super Nintendo with Super Mario All-Stars with a rebate, and Super Mario World. And these are kind of classic games. Very, very awesome remakes of some of my beloved Nintendo classics of that Mario ilk. This is the way to really play those games. They fixed a lot of things, and the sprite uphaul is great, even though playing it on the Nintendo is a very, very classic thing, and I don't really have much to say about it. It's all been said. It was a great pack-in thing, and next is Super Mario Kart, which I think was another birthday thing. And it's a really cool racing game that I played. Another one of those, two-player things that I played a lot. Even into high school when I had a PS2, still popped out my SNES and played some of that arena matches. I'm blanking on what it's called, the balloon thing where you shoot the objects at people and it's the versus mode. Still nothing quite like that version, and I wish it really would come back in a good way, but a lot of awesome memories. I never had a lot of racing games growing up, but this one was pretty okay. And yet, to end this whole Mario thing, Super Mario World, I kind of just talked about it when it had its own 25th anniversary and the whole redrawn thing. So, classic Mario game, probably the best in the series. Let's move on. Super Star Wars, I think I probably got from a trade that I never gave back, or maybe it was a borrow. It is one of the hardest, notorious, all three of the movie games are some of the most notorious hard games ever. Even with cheat codes, it's just a brutal sprawl. And with Empire Strikes Back, it's just, you go through the movie, I suppose, but there's a lot of leaps they take in terms of how the movie progresses, but yeah, it's whatever. More on that probably when I talk about Star Wars games. Tiny Toons Buster Bust Loose. Now, I was huge in this cartoon growing up, along with Animaniacs. Very prime time example of awesome Warner Brothers cartoons and continuations of the classic stuff with Bugs Bunny and stuff of that ilk with the wacky hijinks comedy. Very, very pretty game for the Super Nintendo from Konami. There's actually a lot of Tiny Toons games that are pretty good. Another hard game that I never was able to get past as a kid. I actually might have beaten it. I remember playing it first at a friend's house, just like Mystical Ninja, and then I somehow acquired my own copy. I'm not sure how, but it's a great game, especially if you love the show and love really, really cute music and pretty good pixel graphics. So True Lies, I believe, was another one of those bargain bin kind of things from Sports Palace. Very used. Very, very bloody for a Super Nintendo game. One of few I had, which was that and Killer Instinct, I believe. But a lot of blood, a lot of weird graphics in terms of anthropomorphizing like a very chibi form of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I got stuck on it a lot. It's kind of a pretty hard game, and for Super Nintendo, again, very violent, but I played the hell out of it. I switched a lot with friends, just trying to beat levels, essentially. And my dad liked it quite a bit, too. I think that was a lot of the reasons why he was buying this game. It's not for him, or I should say, not just for me, but for him as well. But yeah, kind of a weird SNES game. Ooh, Wario's Woods. This was a game, I don't know if this was a gift to me, or if this was a present for my sister, but I hated Tetris games. But my sister was really, really good at the game. My dad was okay, but my sister adored this game. I watched her a lot because I was super interested and kind of seeing the progression. You play through, not really a story mode, there's some bits that Wario goes through to fight everybody, or not Wario, because Wario's the final boss. It's actually you're playing Toad, one of very, very few Toad games. But yeah, it's a lot of fond memories of it, even though I really didn't care for the game at all. And last but not least, we have X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, a really cool Capcom brawler with the X-Men. Another big craze at this point. I was watching the cartoon a lot. Another hard game. Essentially, you go through prologues for each character, and then they kind of combine into one campaign. And if you lose someone, they're dead, and you kind of have to revive them by getting cards in other people's levels. And I don't think I've ever to this day, like a lot of these Super Nintendo games, played through the entire thing, but I have cheated my way with some codes to see kind of later levels in the game, and it gets intense. And I think it's very relevant this year since that Apocalypse movie just came out. But yeah, that has been my Super Nintendo retrospective, kind of sporadic here and there, kind of more of my history with acquisitions of these games, which for X-Men another one of the things that I don't remember. I have a lot of fond memories of playing these games, but nothing very specific sticking out. I guess I would sum up, and a lot of these things were kind of like, was this a birthday present or what was it? But I kind of was kind of cool to share the collection that I grew up with instead of talking about another top 20 list or top 10 list or whatever top lists. So there you have it. Happy anniversary to the Super Nintendo, probably the one console that changed my life, and probably one of the best consoles ever made. Did you know that was a Reaction Examiner video? If you liked it, you should subscribe to me to keep up with everything that I'm doing. Also, if you have some other interests, like sex for example, check out Tomops, which is a comedy sex podcast thing wherein my best friend and I check out the weird and abnormal and the erotic. And of course, you should support me on Patreon because, hey, I want to make the channel better and I want your help to do so. Plus, if you want to check out my writing, check out Game Jerk, where I have archives and new stuff for all projects, okay? You can find all the stuff and more in the description with the links below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.